Hayashi-san, thank you very much to give us some of your time.
It's a pleasure. Yes.
I have a feeling you're going through an incredible transition with this move, this global move towards decarbonization. How did you adapt? How did you set up your new policy, your new philosophy, in fact, that you just introduced last month in October? How did you completely review the kind of infrastructure that you're going to
Well,
finance?
I would say it's not a complete review. The tide for decarbonization has been there for maybe at least a decade. The environment or climate change has been the issue, and environment finance has been in our agenda for decades. So. But as you know, Prime Minister Suga was the first one to announce the clear goal for the whole Japan to be carbon neutral in 2050 and to have a medium target in 2030. Likewise, Prime Minister Kishida reaffirmed our intention in Glasgow. So we will be strengthening our climate finance, and as Asian countries will also be moving toward decarbonization, we will support those countries. That's been our job, and that's going to be our job in the future.
But you don't feel that the pressure went up? Like, for example, with coal plants. You had big project. You have one opening in Vietnam in 2 weeks, and now the NGO are pushing you to cut those kind of finance faster. So what are you saying now? For example, on coal plants, you are saying we completely stop the finance, or we'll only finance good quality plants who have carbon capture or who have ammonia. How are you going to manage that?
Well, the coal plant, Japanese companies are going to construct in Vietnam is the place that we started talking about, say, about 15 years ago. Yes. So it's a long commitment. So we don't just leave Vietnam stranded. We have been making discussion with Vietnam what their energy policy will be and how they are going to make continuous economic growth while decreasing the share of their fossil fuel power generation. We are going to support them with our initial intention was to support them with the highest quality coal plant. But now they will be needing more renewable energy, and they may be needing as a transition LNG power plant, which is less CO2 emitting than coal power. So we will continue to work with Vietnam in their way to decarbonize along with their economic development. That's what we will do.
It's a bit unfair when I see all the Western countries committing to stop finance to coal plants or LNG plants, and in Asia we have countries who are depending on coal for, I don't know, India we are at 52%, Indonesia 32% of its electricity. So those countries cannot suddenly stop. Of course, there's pollution, of course, there's CO2 emission, but they cannot switch tomorrow to renewable or nuclear. They say we don't have the money to do it. So. How do we balance it's a bit unfair coming from France or US or Holland or everything. So how don't you feel that you're a bit criticized sometimes, you or Korea, China and Japan? You are the three big financiers of thermal plants in Asia. You don't feel this pressure and this unfairness of the critics?
Well, thank you very much, trying to be very fair.
No, but
well, but what we have to do is that having supported coal plants, we will be supporting Vietnam, Indonesia, and other Southeastern Asian countries in their path to decarbonize, whether it's 2050 or 2060. So we have already started financing renewables, and we will be having a policy discussion with those governments and with their electric companies, how they will introduce more renewables and more gas, and be in trying to achieve a workable but steady path.
Are you part of the new ETM program that ADB is launching? Did you hear about that?
Yeah, I've heard of it,
yeah.
but we're not really in the program. I'm still learning what they're going to do.
Yeah, they are just trying to experiment that in Vietnam and in the Philippines. So. Some new project, very original project. For example, we have this solar farm, gigantic solar farm in Qatar.
Yes.
It's something new for you. Why was it challenging? Qatar, we don't expect solar. We know they have a lot of sun, but basically it's an LNG country. How did you start that? Where did you find, and how did you work with Total to do this new project?
Well, Middle East countries are very good place for solar energy because of the weather and the richness of the land they have. So, and because of the oil and gas they have, they really want to invest a lot in renewable energy. And to develop hydrogen and ammonia, whether it's blue or green, it costs a lot of money. It's still very experimental, and it's not readily commercial. So we are trying to reach those countries more, not only in oil and gas, but also in renewable energy, so that we can together support Japanese companies getting into newer types of energy.
Last question. Do you feel that this the transition that JBIC is pushing will force Japanese big mega banks, Mitsui, Mizuho, Sumitomo, to also adapt? Because they don't dare to go on some infrastructure project if you're not here. And suddenly you are telling them, old coal plants, we don't go anymore. So how do they going to adapt the mega banks? Because it's a huge business for them, for those three big mega banks.
Yeah, well, they are also on the board. They feel like us. They also want to be in the renewable business, and they want to, along with us, support Asian countries to move toward decarbonization and economic development. So I don't think there's any problem in involving it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.